Welcome back from the rest hold, everybody. It's time for us to talk about our main event special feature of this episode. And since it's episode number 200, what better way to ring that in than to do a little bit of a retrospective of Smack Talk. So this has no real, end game, no set outline, any of that kind of stuff. We're just going to be talking about some of our favorite memories, some of the things that have happened over the years, how Smack Talk came about. You know, these suggestions were brought up by Angie and by Mike McCormick, if I'm remembering correctly. If I'm not, then sorry. But
so if this segment sucks, you know who to blame.
The people who've done 200 episodes.
So, a little bit of backstory on Smack Talk. Originally, this started off as an idea that I wanted to do as a video. I wanted to do vlogs, and I did not have the technology to do it. And this was about late 2010 or so. And I still don't really have the technology to do it as good as I would want it to be right now. So that shows just how hard it is to make sure you get all the right equipment and stuff like that. But I was looking around YouTube. I had started Smark Out Moment, and I was just kind of I kind of want to do something where I'm talking instead of writing constantly. And YouTube was getting bigger. A lot of people were doing stuff like the little webcam vlogs and stuff. And I was just I want to do that, but I don't at the same time. Because how many of those do you really need, you know? And I couldn't figure out a way to get around all the technical problems, so I just started doing another written edition. February 12th, 2011 was the first one of those. Saturday Smack Talk is what I called it. And I figured that that's probably where it would just end up being. I never expected to go into podcasting necessarily. Essentially, it was just the hot tags. That's how it started off. Just run down some things that have happened throughout the week and some quick opinions and stuff. And wanted to make sure that I didn't call Smack Talk Smark Out Moment because I wanted some other shows too. So that's why, I mean, some people have given me that question in the past. They're like, why is this Smark Out Moment Smack Talk instead of just Smark Out Moment? Well, you know, if we ever get to the point where we can, Smack Talk's not going to be the only show on here. And you can't make it.
It's not.
It's true. I mean,
Dude, you totally just Booker T'd me here.
Well, I mean, on the Smark Out Moment channel.
Oh, okay.
That's what I mean. Now, Monday Night Raw post show, I count that as, Mega Powers and just happens to be on Smark Out Moment. But, you know, I wanted to break it down. The goal when we started adding special features, I wanted to do the special features as entire shows. So, I don't know, say Wednesdays would be Wrestling with the Past. Whole episodes dedicated to just those things and stuff like that. And, you know, we might get to that point. Who knows? I didn't necessarily know we'd get to the point where we were having episode number 200. That's how this all kind of came about. When I started doing the podcast, I had shitty equipment. I was using the webcam microphone for God knows how long. I eventually moved up to a little Logitech mic, and then I used a headset, $10 headset, for a good, I don't know, 100-something episodes, practically, of Smack Talk. Finally, we have the good old Yeti Station 4, which all of us have, except for Drew. Right, no, Kalen, you don't have one, right?
I have the same mic that Drew has. The ST2020. Or AT2020.
Or the AT-AT?
AT-AT.
Well, you have the USB version, right?
I do.
Yeah, see, I fucked up, and I don't even use that headset anymore. That was an epic failure, and I was able to admit that. And it's not even the.
Who warned you about that when you were ordering it?
You did.
And, who told you to get the Yeti Station?
Wait, shut the fuck up. You had your fucking Yeti Station facing the wrong way for.
Yeah,
he's got you there.
Yeah,
So
I had it in the first place, though. I doubted myself.
So for the headset I was using, or just the microphone, I was gonna buy a mixer and a USB port to connect it to it, but it just didn't work out the way I did. So that was $150 investment that I don't use anymore, which sucks. But I'll probably end up selling it on eBay or something like that eventually. You know, I get at least got $50 back out of it.
So if you want to buy Drew's, then you can go to his eBay account, McFrickin'
There's
nothing up on there, but
I'm not even gonna lie. I think that's the same name.
Probably. So it's been 100 episodes since we put the show on iTunes. That's another little thing. That was episode 10. Oh, did I start with 100 or 101? I think I started with 101.
Yeah, that was a Hell in a Cell review.
Something like that, yeah. So that's been a while, too. Damn, 2 years of that. Debut episode of Smack Talk, October 29th, 2011. That was a review of Vengeance and a couple hot tags that kind of went on before there were hot tags. A lot of talk about Zack Ryder, because he was really, really going full storm around that time. Some miscellaneous thoughts on Raw and stuff like that. And essentially the second biggest topic of the week was Maurice being released. Been that long.
Maurice released. It's a crime of rhyme.
Damn right.
Who was Maurice? Was she the blonde that was with that stayed in the Miz?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Oh,
yeah,
they're married now, I believe.
Yeah, she was fucking terrible. Good.
I miss her.
She's pretty hot.
Yeah, I liked her.
I went through this past couple of days and I wrote down everybody's first episode and I tried to listen to some parts of them and stuff like that and came across some interesting things and whatever, but break you down a little bit of what some of these people have done and how long they've been a part of this. First episode, Chris Dace. You guys remember him, right? He hasn't been on in a long while.
He'll be back later this year. He'll be back later this year so he can get himself in the tournament.
Right. Episode number 2 was Chris Urban. He only showed up for a couple times, but he's one of the guys that's always there watching the pay-per-views at Dace's house, you know, so I get his opinions outside of it, but he's not really into the podcasting. The podcasting kind of game, so, you know, he doesn't really have too much interest in doing them all that much. We had a lot of people that stuck around for a while. We had Braden popped up, episode 11. A couple people that didn't stick around. Vic Straub, buddy of mine, he showed up for one thing, the 2011 awards. Never was a part of anything else other than that. Got old Mikey B. Scott popped up at the very beginning of it. The Did You Know? First Did You Know was episode 11. Did not know we were doing it that long. I thought that the Did You Know off the top of my head came around like 40.
I'm pretty sure that Mikey B. Scott invented it.
I feel like you've been doing... Exactly. I feel like I can maybe still come up with Did You Know. It's been so fucking long.
It's tough. But I actually like the newer format better where I've got the title and the source. Because I never used to do that before. It used to just be very, very simple. The fact that First Did You Know is a play off of what they were doing a lot around that time, which is Smack Talk is the longest running weekly episodic Tony Mango operated wrestling show in YouTube history.
They really don't pull out the Did You Knows anymore on the TV on Raw, so it's always
no,
good.
They do. They do it every week, dude. What are you talking about?
Sometimes two of them.
The show's just so goddamn long that you probably miss it.
Mm-hmm.
No, I remember like back in like 2013, they'd pull up this SmackDown one and be like, "Did you know that SmackDown is like the most popular show on Thursdays or Fridays or whatever it is?" It's like
it's not that anymore, so they can't do that.
Yeah. Did you know that SmackDown used to be the most popular?
If they had something, believe me, if they had something to brag about on SmackDown, they would do it. They just don't have it. But it is coming to USA soon, so you may see the return of that.
That's going to be the Did You Know on the Raw before that. Did you know SmackDown is coming to USA? And then it'll be, did you know SmackDown is a WWE show that none of you watch?
Doesn't SmackDown like have the lowest ratings they've ever had right now?
Something like that. They had an abysmal show recently.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, they need to just shit can that show. Forget moving it to USA. Jesus Christ.
I think they need to keep that. But you know what? That's another discussion for another day. The first ever outro was episode 4. That was the Cody Rhodes outro, which, if you don't know the story by now, the reason why outros exist is because Dace just would not shut up singing that song for like an entire day. And, we started doing it on the podcast and stuff, and I was just kind of like, I'm just going to put that at the end. Because we didn't have anything around that. We don't have our, like, entrance music or anything like that. So that just kind of became a running gag. And now we're to the point, speaking of, like, how do we still have Did You Knows? How do we still have outros?
Well, originally the whole gimmick of it was that you were supposed to do wrestlers' theme songs.
Mm-hmm.
And, I guess the plan eventually was that if we eventually ran out of wrestlers' theme songs, maybe we would just do them again, but, like, better. But I think we reinvented it to where we went outside of the wrestling world and we started taking in, like, classic rock songs and doing skits and all these other different things we could do for the outro.
Yeah, they really started to get crazy.
Yeah, that and also, like, every once in a while, they'll, like, Raw or something, like, someone will bring up, just, like, say something about a reference to something else that would be able to let us do an outro of sorts.
I mean, we've had outros that have been multiple outros that have been completely silent.
Well, that's your fault, because we were too lazy to do one.
No,
Cop
that-
out.
that's
No,
your
but like
fault,
we did it
because
for
you didn't think
Vacant,
of-
then we had the Vacant reprise and stuff like that. But there's one of them out there, I can't remember which one it is, but it was around the time where they had I think it was Survivor Series, the Shield came out and it did the whole thing where like the lights went out and it kept like fading in and out from the lights being on. And I ended up doing that for an outro one time. It was like this, or no, did I do that for Did You Know? I think what I did You Know that I'm thinking about it.
There's actually an outro where there's Tony doing omnums on it, but you can't hear it because his omnums aren't loud enough.
That's actually multiple outros.
That's like,
He failed to do good omnoms on multiple outros.
like, you know how Alfred Hitchcock pops up in all his movies? And South Park, they throw an alien in every episode. What you guys haven't realized is every outro has had om nom nom in the background. I just do it really low. If that was true, that'd be really fucking terrible if you like listen back to old outros and you hear Papa Shango ones. Those were pretty good for a while.
We had a long run for that.
Too long.
I'd say it was just right.
But we've had some ridiculous outros, and of course, now that we've implemented that into the awards and stuff like that, at the end of the year, you guys will be able to listen to them all, have that big mash of all of them together again. I've been making sure to make it a little bit easier on myself. I try to prep stuff well in advance. You know, I do my like little notes about the awards at the end of the show and the end of the year and stuff like that throughout the whole year. This year, I had to go back last time around and I had to extract all of the outros. That was a pain in the ass. This time I'm saving them all separately. It's just going to be up like, you know, so much simpler. So maybe I'll get a chance to like play around, make some logos and do some kind of crazy shit. And if you have any suggestions about that too, then, you know, leave those comments. But I also want to get you guys involved in the outros. That's the next phase of the outro, I think. Have the fans submit outros. And if you think that we do crazy shit, I don't know what the hell you guys are going to end up doing. Because if there's anything that has been a running gag when it comes to the shows that we do, it's we think that we're terrible, and you guys tend to motivate us to be worse. Like, it'll be like, let's make fun of stuff. What do you guys want us to make fun of? And you'll be like, retarded kids, and whatever. We're like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, the one time we gave them the fucking ball, they went with retarded kids, and I forgot what other topic it was, but it was just as fucking bad.
It was like cancer patients or something, right?
Yeah, they literally gave us numbers to call in and make fun of, like, people with horrible illnesses.
Which is amazing. We love you guys. The first ever episode that Mike Payton was on, episode 40. So you've been here for a long while.
Yeah. I guess I'm the senior member if you don't count Dace, who just pops on once in a while.
Very true. Following right after your heels there, good old Jeff Croup.
Wow.
Episode 43.
Brought that back to the
I know he's going to be showing up any one of these days.
And speaking of following the tales of something else I mentioned before, the Did You Know was episode 11. Episode 12, the debut of the hot tags as like their own separate entity. And they used to be done where the hot tags were like, I used to try to make Smack Talk 5 things. And you guys can tell that I do that a lot. We usually have 5 parts. You know, part 1's Ask Him, part 2 is hot tags, Rest Hold in part 3, main event, and then Fantasy League. I used to want to keep the 5 thing going at the original, like, 20-something episodes of Smack Talk or whatever like that. So I would only pick 5 topics, and they would get their own special videos. Of course, I figured out, kind of sucks. So, you got to evolve over the years. Hot tags used to have a 5-minute time limit, if you guys remember that. That didn't work.
Wow.
And I think at one point you had a reverse battle royal. It was terrible.
I might have, yeah. I tried to figure out the best way to do the hot tags, and I still think that there's room for improvement in the hot tags. But I like the way that we're doing it now, where, people can tag in and talk about different stuff and whatever like that. Certainly the time limit thing was just a bad idea. And one of the main reasons why that existed was I had a shittier computer back then, and I just could not process videos. So it was like, well, if we make the hot tags 5 minutes long, it'll be able to get the video up at a decent enough time. Because if it's 10 minutes long, it's going to take twice as long. And I had issues back in the day where it was like, a 15-minute segment took me 4 hours just to make the video. It sucked. So that's one of the reasons why I took Smack Talk to get into the rhythm that it's in now and stuff. Now, of course, everything's a breeze, and we can knock out an episode and I can have it up, by the time we're like done recording the Fantasy League, you guys are commenting on part 1 and going through the Ask Him and stuff, so that's awesome. We used to have that little fire opening of the video. You guys remember that too?
Yeah, too bad we don't have that anymore.
Yeah, I might have to bring that back. Kind of depends.
We also don't holler hot text like we're newspaper boys in like the 20s.
Yeah, that's just because I got tired of doing it.
Yeah, the joke ran itself a little old too. But it still pops up every once in a while. Somebody said something the other day, I think it was Dace, and he said it kind of in like that old-timey fashion or whatever, and I just, in the back of my head, I'm just kind of like, hot tags.
Hot tags.
Get your hot tags, yeah. Get your lunch bags, too.
What about lunch boxes?
Yeah, get them as well. Weird thing with the hot tags, I used to do the Bleacher Report card in that segment before we had the rest hold. That started, the episode 50 was the first Bleacher Report article. So that's been around for that long, too.
Really?
Good old Bleacher Report card's been there for 150 episodes.
Man,
That reminds
might
me.
be another
this is-
runner-up for favorite segment.
Maybe. I don't know how the hell you guys ended up voting for that year. That was ridiculous.
Well, it's a Bleacher Report card. We want to see what else you're writing. But
It's just a bunch of random people going, I know what Bleacher Report is. Click.
I like
Can I say-
cards.
Can I say one thing about the Did You Know, though?
Yeah,
When
that's what we're doing here.
When I was, it's pictures. Okay, well, anyways, I remember when I was still listening as a fan, and it was before you put the Did You Know in with the like Wrestled when that you started debuting that, and I would literally like get so excited when the Did You Know just randomly popped up on like a part. I was like, oh boy, there's a Did You Know. I got so excited, and then you started putting in the Wrestled. I'm like, now I gotta listen to the Wrestled. Fuck me, right?
Yeah, Did You Know used to just be on something random each time. And of course, when we did the main events and stuff like that, and we didn't have anything else to talk about, usually went on that and stuff. But when we had the pay-per-views, you never know what match was going to end up popping up with that. That's actually something that's gone down and we don't do anymore is pay-per-view related. The image captions. I miss them. I'll admit.
A lot of people do.
It's just a lot of work. And, I try to make a lot of things better, try to make it smoother. Obviously, if you guys have been paying attention to the fact that the graphics have changed over the years, and now we've got like the little boxes that are on the screens now. I think that that's like a much simpler, cleaner design for different stuff. Get a little bit more information out there, and it's not just like cluttered. So, who knows? Maybe I'll start doing the image captions if I can figure out a way to do that. I miss them. I think a lot of people do, like you said. Some of them were terrible, of course. But that was always a pain in the ass.
No, the best was when you were like, hey, I don't have anything for this one, so leave a comment below letting me know what I could not put in this one.
Some of those were really transparent, where it's just like, Tony didn't think about, didn't put a lot of effort into this one, did he?
Oh, look, it's another picture of a headlock.
Oh, that one was one of my favorites, actually. that running counter, it's Orton versus Daniel Bryan, I think, and it's just the headlock counter. That's actually gone down as like one of my top 5 or so favorite image caption things that I've done. It's just like, alright, headlock number 8, headlock number 9. But you guys kind of got into the whole idea of me doing the pun stuff through that. I think that's when people started realizing, holy shit, Tony really likes puns, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Going back a little bit to the first episodes that people have been out there, I mentioned Peyton 40, Jeff Croup 43, Chris Jester and Carlos Covington were both 59, followed up by Alfonso Mack in 60, Paul Hubbard in 71, Brandon in 72, Miguel in 77. So there was a good time there where it was just like, let's throw some random people in here, let's just try to see what the chemistry's like. Then we got Drew in 83.
And then 2 episodes later, it was when it was supposed to be the end of TNA, and that didn't fucking happen. We're still 200 episodes in.
Holy shit, was that long ago?
Yeah,
Yes.
episode 85.
No, it was like my first episode, and I will say, I think the first episode I was on, it was like a retrospective top ropes of like pay-per-views that need to return. and that was like the worst possible thing that you could have asked me to do. Because I was like,
I forget when that came up. I don't really know what like the inspiration for that joke was, but I remember we prophesized that like for a while. It had to have been like 20 or so episodes where we had that running joke. That might have been our first ever running gag.
It might have been. I mean, unless you count the idea that when we were kids, we thought that Steamboat and Santana were the same.
Oh, well.
But that might actually go down as the first running gag that we had, because that was something that we were really like, we were hitting hard. And it was a possibility at the time, too.
It's a possibility at any time.
Yeah, that's the thing. But it's been that long. Man, it's crazy.
Kudos to TNA. Still trucking.
You get a little bit of a pat on the back. And then a really angry one that'll hurt. I looked back on a lot of old episodes, though, and some of them really, like, they stand up. I mean, one of my highest ranked views for any video is still episode 4, part 1. Rock and Cena versus The Miz and R-Truth. That's got like 30,000 hits for that. And that came, where obviously part 1 for episode 1 and part 5 for episode 2 and stuff like that, like, they weren't getting any traction at all because it was like nobody's searching for Smark Out Moment Smack Talk and stuff. You put that video up and it's like, bam, okay, now I start getting subscribers, and that helped out a lot. So that's actually one of the reasons why I make sure that the predictions posts, we have like the matches are separate, because I know some people have been curious why we don't just do like full-on predictions in one video. That could be the difference maker, because that video got 30,000 hits. The other ones didn't. They got, maybe 1,000, maybe a couple hundred. And that could be the one video that gets people to tune in and subscribe. Do you remember, Drew, what you clicked on that originally got you to subscribe to the channel?
It was one of the I might have been Triple H versus Undertaker at WrestleMania 28. I think that was the first thing I clicked on. Like, I was coming back from a cruise and I was just curious what was going on, and I just went on the YouTubes and I found it somehow. So I really don't remember what I clicked on prior to that, but it popped up on the sidebar and I clicked on it. And then I left a comment going, oh my god, I should get the popcorn. It's 30 minutes long.
That's one running thing with Smack Talk. It's never short. You know what? That's partially because you see so many like 3-minute videos and stuff like that. Try to be something different,
And then the thing was, like, after that, I thought like every episode was going to be like, oh man, there's going to be some long parts in there. And then like the next predictions and reviews is like each video is like 2 to 3 minutes long. I was like, the fuck? Where's my 30-minute long video, damn it?
Well, our history with doing 30-minute long videos about the Divas predictions. Those are always consistently the shortest ones for pay-per-view predictions. You never know. Maybe this week it won't be. But I love the idea that I was going through here. I clicked on episode 72. I said I was going through trying to find the first episode for people. And speaking of running gags, Peyton does the Roit voice. 215 in episode 72 on, I forget I think it's the very beginning of it, part 1.
That's when I asked him.
Yeah, he was making fun of Refit.
That was when I stole the Ask Him.
Yeah. But you were doing a Wade Barrett impression, so it even goes down to Wade Barrett that way.
I thought he was trying to do an impression of Burhan.
Yeah, every time I try to do an impression of anybody else, it ends up being a Wade Barrett impression.
Well, we kind of like tied it into that. It was like, well, is this like Wade Barrett or like that kind of thing? And so there's always been this like thing in the back of our heads, I guess, where it comes to Wade Barrett talking like this and people from England talking like that, because we give it to Sean. Like, this must have been something that seed was planted in episode 72, and we didn't start doing the full-on Roit thing until, man, I don't even remember how long that was. That's been around for a while, but it certainly wasn't like episode 73.
As far as the fucking Roit shit came from, I think Sean got like over the top enthusiastic and went, "That ain't fucking right."
I feel like it was one of the times when he was like really drunk.
And then we just ran with it and made his life a living hell.
I feel like he says that all the time. Sean is constantly going off the handle and shouting Roit and Fulcanel and all these other things. It's out of control.
I have
think what was
on
good-
our list of the jokes, the little jokes index, that it was sometime in 2014, but I didn't have an exact date. Probably because we, did it like off the air and we did it so many times that it morphed into other shit. Cause, I mean, shit, it did start with the whole fucking hell. And then it's fucking hell. And
Well,
fucking...
wasn't the Roy originally actually making fun of Triple H?
Oh,
Yeah, it was-
shit,
He was
it
doing an
was.
impersonation of Wade
Triple H was-
Barrett.
Yeah,
Wade
it all
was
comes
making
back
fun
to
of
Wade
Wade
Barrett.
It was Triple H doing his impression of Wade Barrett, and that we were like, oh, Triple H is probably backstage going, oh, fucking Roy, yeah, Wade Barrett, bad news and shit like that. And then it was like, oh, yeah, that's great, Trips, and you should do that on TV. Like,
And then we're like, that's what Barrett sounds like every time.
right. And then it became, that's what Sean sounds like every time.
Sean is Wade Barrett.
Well, he does have a lot of bad news. I mean, just read his Facebook.
First episode Sean was ever on, by the way, he was the next person after Drew, episode 90. And it was followed by Wago in episode 98. Then we had a huge gap. Next person who was like their first debut episode, Kalen.
Really?
Episode 178.
Damn, that is a big gap.
Almost 100 episodes with the same crew.
Yeah.
And we
it's
bought
like,
on Brian.
Then I had to come along and fuck everything up.
You're cool, Kalen. We got rid of some dead weight.
All right.
We got into a solid rotation of people, and I think chemistry was there.
And I will argue with anybody. I think that the group that we've got now is easily the strongest group that we've got when it comes to Smack Talk. I can't even listen back to the older episodes and not just be like, oh man, this is bad. And a lot of that's just me, because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I've got old episodes where I'm just kind of like, clearly did not want to record it, but have no energy to it whatsoever. I actually listened to a little bit of the episode the other day that I had strep throat when I did it, which is hilarious because it's like, welcome everybody to Smack Talk. I've got strep throat. This is fucking terrible.
I remember that one, yeah.
And I think it was Braden's just kind of like, what a fucking champ. He's doing this with strep throat. Wago, your first introduction goes, this isn't GTA. And I say, oh, you don't hear me shooting people in the background? And of course, because you're fucking Wago, you go, wait, we can do that? Your introduction to everybody on this, the viewers and stuff is like, oh, we can shoot people? Great. By the way, I'm Steven Wago.
Don't you love me? I'm such a rascal.
Now, Peyton got into this through Twitter.
Yes.
For those who don't know about that. That was, Peyton was doing his Keeping Kayfabe, and did I message you or did you message me?
You messaged me on the platform, oddly, that neither of us particularly use.
Right. Yeah, I was looking for more people to join the show, and I was just kind of like, oh, these guys do a podcast. I like their podcast. Yo, you want to do mine? Just basically. So that was a good little acquisition there. And Drew mentioned before he came on this as a fan, and Sean, I believe, did the same. I think Sean was
Majority of your early days came from your wrestling forum days, though, eh?
yeah, back in the good old WrestleZone forums. I was a moderator for that for a couple months or something like that. I don't know.
If you're actually on the WrestleZone forums, just so you know, we don't consider you people.
Tony Big Pants over on WrestleZone forums.
Oh, I hated it. I hated it so much. That was the type of thing where it was like, you want to be a moderator? And I'm like, yeah, sure. What do I have to do? Oh, I got to do all this fucking work?
So it's every person that's ever wanted to write for you?
Kind of.
It's all karma for that moment.
Probably. Yeah, if you don't know the backstory behind why Smark Out Moment exists, is because I started out writing for WrestleZone, and that didn't work out. I wasn't really liking it, and decided I was going to make my own website.
With
So-
blackjack and hookers.
Exactly. And man, those hookers were great. Sucked at blackjack, though. First ever Divas tournament that we had was March 17th, 2012. Episode 20. That's how quick we got into, sex sells. Let's put some tits out there. That'll work. And it did. Because holy shit, I got more subscribers from that tournament than I did anything that I had done before that. That's the reason why Smack Talk is able to still exist now. It's because of that damn tournament, which went on for 29 episodes.
Yeah, did you hear that, Tuk-Toe? Eh?
It works, yeah. But it was March 17th, 2012 to October 6th, 2012. That took forever, and man, I am never doing that again. That was such a pain in the ass. So many graphics to put up, so many images to go through. But it worked. You know.
Man, there must have been a lot of anal jokes during that time.
God knows how many. Ridiculous. That's when the comedy wasn't as good in Smack Talk either.
I don't know. I heard this really good Kennedy joke.
That was one of the first kind of running jokes, too.
Mm.
I mean, a lot of these running jokes that you guys are kind of not privy to, they start when we're just bullshitting before and after the shows. Because if you don't know, I mean, we talk when we do the shows, obviously, that's kind of the whole point. But we keep the discussion going afterward. That's where it gets a little blue and, you know, things start getting really mean and stuff. But, you know, we'll get into these discussions that are just total, absolute nonsense. And originally it was like, well, we can't do this on the show. Then we just made the All Talk show. It's just like, let's do it on the show anyway. Which still, they're worse outside of the All Talk show than they are there. If you don't know what the All Talk show is by now, holy shit, go listen to that, because that's where we go off the wall a little bit.
But not the most recent episode.
Nah, the most recent one sucks, I'll admit it. Listen back to, like, when we were talking to plants and stuff.
Well, Porn in the Woods. Porn in the Woods is a very good episode.
Porn in the Woods, I think, is the turnover point.
I like the episode where we talk to porn stars or people on the back pages.
What?
Yeah, we had Dace on the show, and we were prank calling people off of like Craigslist and shit.
The guy with the steel drums.
The guy with the steel drums.
That one's labeled "Looking for Meatball Parm," I think.
Yeah. Well, that was the first episode, wasn't it?
No, I think it's the
We also
second.
had a very good recent one where we were just cracking up at this bullshit medium radio show.
Oh, yes.
No, that one's great. Yeah. Woo! So yeah, if you like our antics, you got to check out the All Talk show. That's how these things evolve over the time. I mean, running gags alone, we went from just like, hey, wouldn't it be funny if TNA stopped existing by episode 85? To now it's like, we have an index. And we're missing things on the index.
How many jokes we probably have forgotten that we had like 2 years ago that just haven't popped back up in our heads?
And I know
And I
that...
bet there was some good ones too.
Probably, yeah. I know that Awesome Piano Man goes back and he checks a bunch of old episodes every once in a while just to kind of like relive old days from when he was listening. He's one of our longest running fans, and hat tip to Awesome Piano Man for supporting us all these times. Every once in a while he'll leave a comment on something. I'll get that little comment notification and I'll be like, oh, what episode is he checking out? And I'll listen to it and I'll just be like, wow, it's come a long way. Like, jokes from people that aren't here anymore that just don't land whatsoever. And if you listen back to some of them, you can hear me like placate some egos and just kind of go like, ha ha ha, funny. All right, let's move on. And we don't do that shit at all anymore. We're horrible to each other now.
We had a period where we still didn't get everyone's humor as a unit, and we were having a few missed jokes, but we're pretty on point now.
Mm-hmm. And we're just mean as fuck sometimes. Nowadays, you can't have a joke that doesn't go over without somebody pointing it out. It used to be like, well, we'll give you a little pity laugh. Now it's just kind of like, nope, nobody likes that joke. Then we'll just be like, hey, remember when he did that joke that fucking sucked? You ass.
Nothing?
Yeah, no.
No.
I thought that joke had a shot.
You see, when he did that shit, though, no one made fun of his joke because of how pathetic it was afterwards.
What joke, specifically?
Any of them.
Oh, no, nothing? It's like, well, you've already killed making fun of you for it.
The good old-fashioned, ugh.
Well, that actually kind of, that mentality spawns back to the old uncensored days that I was trying to get the comedy group started. We had a friend of mine, Sam, who you might recognize from Fanboys Anonymous stuff. Sam had a habit of pitching like really terrible premises for sketches. and it would be something that would just go over like a lead balloon. He'd talk, nobody would say anything, and then we'd be like, all right, let's move on, or whatever. But we didn't really notice it for a while, and then we started to actually pick up that people were doing it not just for that, but they were also doing it just when he would say, like, anything. So it would be like, so what do you think about this, Dace? And he'd be like, oh yeah, blah, 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 blah. And Urban, what do you think about this? Yeah, it's such and such, whatever. And then Sam would chime in, and then everybody just kind of be quiet. And I think it was Dace started to just go, Sam. And it became this running gag of just pointing out that nobody talked after he did that. So, when you get like, Miguel will tell a joke or shit, even if we do it now or whatever like that, if there's that lull, that pops into my mind, and I just kind of want to be like, Wago, or something. But I can't even do it now, because now we just jump on each other, and it's just kind of like...
You know what the worst thing is we offer jumping on each other about? Mispronouncing a word.
Oh, God, it's terrible now.
Jesus Christ,
That's
we
the
can't...
worst.
Like, it wasn't recorded, but Drew said something just a little off where he stuttered. And Jesus Christ, we're like a pack of hyenas, and we're just going...
Well, it keeps up the tradition of you take something and you blow it out of proportion, and eventually it doesn't even, still be the same exact thing.
Yeah,
like, I'm looking right now at the index list.
If someone listened to us, all they'd hear is someone stutter followed by,
But I'm looking at the index list, and this is the perfect example for it. Drew says one episode, Ricky the Steamboat. Holy shit, how much have we gotten out of that?
I think it was my team name for a while.
Ricky the Teamboat.
Ricky the Steamboat was at the road to WrestleMania 2014. That's how long we've been making this joke. And even just on the index, I've got 4 other examples of the Tugger variation. Tugger the Tugboat, Tugger the Tugboat, Tugger the Tugboat Boat, and Tugger the Tug Boat Boat. So fucking dumb.
And they're managed by Russell Crowe.
Yeah. It's so
and the stable's
horrible.
called Boats, Boats, Boats.
You know what joke got out of hand, though? Our Seth Rollins joke.
Oh, God.
It's so Seth Rollins is homeless. Alright. Now he's an angry teenager. Now he's Waco's cat.
Yeah, the running tally right now is Seth Rollins is a homeless, angry, suburban teenager, hungry cat / monkey / sewer rat that eats Wago's blinds. Om nom nom.
Yeah, I
Even
got
something
no
as
defense
simple-
for that.
Even something as simple as Peyton introduces himself on an episode of the Monday Night Raw post show as Rootin' Tootin' Mike Payton. And, that's November 18th, 2013. Wow. And how many times since then, Wago, have you said to yourself, Rootin' Tootin' Vladimir Putin?
Rootin', Tootin', Vladimir Putin! It's fun as fuck to say.
It is, isn't it?
I actually saw one of those John Cena meme videos earlier, but it was made to be Vladimir Putin.
The one that was just like, John Cena!
But
Does it actually
it's-
go Vladimir Putin?
Yeah, that had like John Cena's theme music with Vladimir Putin doing like manly shit.
Like riding a horse and
Yeah, riding a horse,
lifting
like
weights or something.
lifting weights, like hammering something, like
Making a sword out of like blacksmith equipment.
He's a man. That'd work for him.
Rootin' Tootin'. But that's something that, Kaylin, when you were listening to Smack Talk and Monday Night Raw post show and stuff like that, what got you to go, I like these guys, I want to keep tuning in and maybe even do it?
Well, when I was preparing for this, I was wondering exactly when I started listening to you guys. So I kind of traced it back. And I found, I think it was around Smack Talk episode 88. It was the Money in the Bank predictions match. Because I was looking on YouTube for predictions for the pay-per-view. And I found that. And just the ridiculous sense of humor that you guys had. That, you didn't just get too serious about it, that you were able to have fun with it and just sort of riff on each other. And so that was one thing that really drew me towards it. Yeah, I've been a fan long before I ever started talking to you guys, so I guess that was like over 2 years ago, and didn't really start talking to you guys until I got into the Monday Night post-show, the chat room that you guys got going there. And then start talking a little more. And actually, it was a while before I even signed up an account, and a while even after that before I started talking.
You were one of those random guests.
Yeah. For several months, I was a random guest.
Oh, what the fuck, man? I told you every week to register. Why didn't you listen?
Now you're the person telling people to register.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Be like me.
This is karma, just like for fucking Tony and his WrestleZone moderator status.
So I was like, well, shit, this is, funny shit. I'm interested in what these guys are talking about. How can I get more involved? So then I started talking to you guys a little bit and, join the Megamaniacs group on Facebook, which you guys should all do if you're not on there yet. And, just seeing the funny shit that you post there during the week and the memes and the jokes and stuff. And it just kind of grew from there, reached out to you guys, started talking some more, and I was invited to be on the show, and I have a lot of fun. So I'm happy to be here.
Episode, what was it, 80 something?
88, I believe. Yeah, I looked it up. 88. It was in June of 2013. Or July. June or July of 2013.
So does he count as a Mike Payton guy?
Who?
Kalen?
No. He's a fan. He's like Drew. He's a fan who just worked himself in.
I didn't work myself in. I asked Mango eventually because I joined Fanboys.
I just mean like...
Yeah.
No, Drew. Let's hear your explanation.
Well, if you want to go with true behind-the-scenes stories, I mean, Drew did show up in my house with a gun to my head and said, "Let me on the fucking episode, you bastard." I was like, all right.
No, I originally started off as a fan, but then I sort of shoehorned myself in. I'm like, hey, guys, we got to do my segments. I started forcing the segments on you.
Yeah, we had a bell for you. It was great.
I mean, yeah. Good time.
Yeah. Good time.
So, for Drew's perspective and for yours, Kaylin, when it went through, there's been a lot of changes that have happened with Smack Talk. A lot of things haven't changed too. We've had segments like I said, the outro's been there since episode 4. The Did You Know has been 11. Hot Tags 12. And, Fantasy League we've been doing for, 2 years now. 3 years now? 2 or 3.
I don't think we did it as a segment the first year. We didn't start doing it until a segment until the second year we did it.
Yeah, that might be true. We have been doing it for at least 2, though, since we did the one that I won and the one that you won.
Mm-hmm. Well, who won the first one?
I did.
Well, it doesn't count because it wasn't official.
No, I think the very first... Oh, did you win the very, very first one?
I think so.
The one that... No, you won the first one that we did on the show. But I think the very first year, I think Jester might have won that.
Oh, then it definitely doesn't count.
But from your guys' perspectives, you've seen things change over the years and stuff, and some of the things have, some of them haven't. I've always referred to the people that are doing the show under the mic work section, because I always thought that pun was funny. I've always had the borders, but the borders have changed. We used to just have one border at the bottom. Now we have different ones for different things. You've got the little rusty steel one for pay-per-views, and you've got the caution things for the special features. I don't even know how many people notice that, but it's something that I put a lot of way too much time and effort into tweaking now and then. What do you guys think of the old episodes compared to now? And what's changed and stuff?
Well, that's actually something I started doing after... Oh, I'll go first, Drew. That's something I actually...
since I was been a fan longer to you, I think I should go first on this one.
Fine, go,
that's as short as
dick.
I've ever seen her Kaylin get with Drew.
Exactly. I was actually surprised. Anyways, no, a lot has changed since episode 22. First off, better mics. That's a good start. We had that phase where we had
for people too.
Yeah, better people as well. I will say something, Tony. When Tony got his new microphone, he thought it sounded exactly the same as his shitty $10 headset. He's like, guys, I sound exactly the same. But Tony,
he had it upside down. What a dickhead.
Yeah, exactly. You probably did.
Not upside down, but I had the wrong settings on it. And I had a different computer, and that one sucked.
He was talking into the USB.
But a lot has changed since I started watching. I remember going into 2012, a lot of the times episodes were only 4 parts long when there wasn't a pay-per-view, so it would be at most actually 3 parts really. It'd be the hot tags, the ask him, and then the outro sometimes, and it would be very short. And it was around like at the beginning of 2013, Tony added the one to watch. And after that, he started implementing a lot of the segments that are regulars now, like the superstar scores and the wrestling with the past and the retrospective stuff as well. And I feel like that was when the big, other than getting new people to join the show with like everyone here for the most part, because even Peyton wasn't here before when I started watching, which surprises me. I felt like he was there since the very beginning, but that's just Peyton's personality for the most part. But a lot has changed since around I started watching, especially when it comes to segments and everything that's happened. And I think everything that that Tony has done, I like to say we, but I really haven't implemented too much other than myself, So everything that Tony has done, I think has been for the better for the most part. Other thing, not putting the Ask Him, not the Ask Him, Did You Know in a random segment. And that's about it.
You still want that surprise, do you?
Dude, it was always like, oh man, which part is it this week? So like I said, a lot has changed since then. I remember for a while there, I wasn't bored with the show, but it was like the end of 2012. But with the Smarkies that you did and the one to watch for 2013, that's when I really started picking up steam with like the show. It just might have caught something important. And then when you went to the Wrestling with the Past, when you were talking about all the Hall of Famers or people who weren't in the Hall of Fame that should be in the Hall of Fame, yeah, Jeff Krupp was on, and Jeff fucking sucks at life, but that was some really good stuff.
That actually is a good episode for running gags. That was a Stigmata episode.
Exactly. I was like, we about to bring that up. So that's
what poor Jeff's gonna have listened to this episode. And he's gonna be heartbroken because of you.
I know.
I think he'll be happy we remember him.
Yeah, he probably will. So
how can we forget Jeff? You're the reason that we have Jeff.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you, Peyton, for that one. So that's actually one of my favorite episodes. As a whole, a lot of happened. I think Ric Flair's son was actually dying was one of the hot tags for that episode, if I remember correctly. So I think around the same time there was a Keeping Kayfabe tag team tournament as well. So a lot has changed since then, and I think we've caught something magical here, as they say on the streets. So
who won that tournament? It was Road Warriors, right?
Yeah.
No,
okay,
I'm
done. Go.
Did they get that Road Warrior pop?
No, it was someone want to let me fucking answer the question Tony asked me? Jesus Christ. It was the Dudley Boys.
They won it?
Yeah,
the Road Warriors.
Huh. Do you remember the Final Four?
Final Four was Road Warriors, Heart Foundation, Dudley Boys, and New Age Outlaws.
Wow. I would have thought Edge and Christian would have been up there.
No, surprisingly. I think they got taken out by the Dudleys, actually.
Halen, what about you? What has changed over these years? God damn, it sounds terrible to say years.
Well, I was going to say a bunch of stuff, but then Drew took it all. So no, I'm just kidding. I also went back, like some of the other people have done, and listened to older episodes. After I started listening, to current episodes as they were being put up on YouTube, I was going back in the archives, and so I got to, hear some of the origins of some of these jokes that I had, heard referenced week in and week out. And then I was like, what the hell does that mean? And I hadn't even gone on the joke list yet or anything like that. So going back and hearing where some of that developed was really interesting. As far as the graphics goes, you were talking earlier about the captions, and I like some of the captions on those, but honestly, I mostly listen, and I'll put on the show and I'll listen to it. And I don't really, so as far as you were talking about the graphics changing, going through and looking at the screenshots here on YouTube, I'm going through and looking at the stills for each one, and I can see they have changed and they have improved, but honestly, that I didn't pay too much attention to before. So I would have to say what has changed the most, in my opinion, since the beginning, or since I started listening and over time of the show, is the chemistry between the panelists on the show. Because you can hear at first, because I heard some of the early ones where like Wago was on there. It was like his first or second week. And I haven't gone back to hear Mike's first one yet. But definitely as the group gels together better, you're able to, like you said, understand each other's sense of humor, your personality, sort of riff off of each other. And definitely the chemistry has developed way more than it had started with. So I think that's one thing that has grown into something beautiful.
I almost didn't have Mike back after his first episode.
Yeah.
And it wasn't from him being bad or anything, because obviously Mike's not bad, but like, I remember we had a discussion on WWE films, and you were trying to be like as positive as you could, of like, I'll check out WWE films, why wouldn't you watch it, and stuff like that. And I remember thinking, don't tell me that this guy fucking likes WWE films. Be like, oh god damn it, don't tell me I got another one of these fucking weirdos.
I will say, after my first episode, I thought that I would never get asked to be back on, and it took a couple weeks for me to get back on, but I did. That's all that counts. Woo!
Any
Teamwork.
specific reason? Just
Like I said, you put me on an episode where it's like, let's talk about pay-per-views that Drew's never heard of or have ever seen. More likely, like the World War III and the I can't even think of the name now, but they came out with a DVD of it recently. War Games. You know, you guys were talking about that, and it's like, yep, I've never even watched any of that shit. So I'm just like, yeah, War Games, because fuck it. Yeah. And then I think the part after that, we did like TNA predictions, and I was just going, yeah, this match will be a 5-star match because look at these two guys. It's Kurt Angle and yeah.
Remember we did TNA predictions?
unfortunately.
And those,
Yeah,
like,
that only
those got
took-
out of hand.
They only took forever to get Tony to stop doing them. I think me and Mike could just bitch for about 2 hours after each show.
I remember there was a period where Braden would randomly take over as the host for the TNA segment. I was like,
Yeah.
I was really confused whenever that happened. I was like, wait,
Word.
what? Is Braden the host of the show now? What the fuck's going on?
Are you sure-
Because it was like, he was the only one that actually watched it.
are you sure you're
So
not
he'd
talking about
be
Miguel?
like, Braden, what do you think about this thing that's happening right now? Because I'm not watching it. And he'd be like, well, you know, it's great because this is whatever. And you guys should really check it out. And be like, nope. So-
Was that the origins of the Mike Payton coin flip?
No, that was during a.
I think it was a TNA thing.
Yeah, no, that was a TNA pay-per-view.
No, it was just.
It's the origins of the only time I did it, I'm pretty sure.
That happened during. I could have swore when a certain somebody took over an episode and made it TNA based.
Oh, yeah, that was definitely a coin flip.
Little backstory. Smack Talk almost ended before episode 50. Around that time period, I was mentioning before that, you know, around the 40s, 50s, 60s, that kind of stuff, I was really adding a lot of people. And before that, it was just Braden at number 11. One of the reasons why I added Peyton in number 40 is I was really considering just ending the show. And didn't really know exactly what I was doing. You know, I was still getting into the swing of things. People were, like, ditching it a little bit. You know, there's this running thing that happens with writing stuff, doing podcasts, whatever, as expected in certain circles and stuff like that. People really, really, really want to do it, and they do it maybe once or twice, and then it's not interesting and fun and cool anymore. It's like, well, that I got that new thing out of the way. I don't want to do it for another couple weeks or ever. I'll get writers that'll be like, you know, I want to write like 5 articles a week, and I'll be like, all right, that'd be awesome, but don't, you know, put too much on yourself because you'll get burned out. They'll do 1 article, and you'll never see them again because they already got that under their belt. And that was getting dangerous around that time where people were like, well, this has been 20-something, 30-something weeks of doing this. You're really going to keep doing this? It was
Well,
like,
yeah,
fucking
that's a
yeah.
fucking weekly podcast, you jackass.
Exactly, and some people don't get it and stuff, so it was hard to like motivate people to actually keep doing it because there's no end in sight. It's not like recording a TV season where you do 20 episodes and then you take a break and whatever. No, this is a weekly podcast. You do it every week until you stop. So around that time, I was getting really just like burnt out of trying to do things myself. There's a couple episodes, I think like 39 is one of them, where I did the Heath Slater outro because specifically I was the only one on the episode. And I was like, oh, one-man band, that makes sense. And it was like, well, if I'm going to just do it just by myself every week, I ain't going to fucking do it anymore. So that's the reason why this show still exists, because you fuckers keep doing it with me.
Now, I don't want to jump ahead in topics if you're going to mention this later, but I thought when you're saying that the show almost died, that you almost didn't continue it, I thought you were going to say that you were discouraged by the bogus copyright claims. Are you going to talk about that a bit, or?
Yeah, we could get into that. That is something. Last night, by the way, for people that follow these kind of things, I got a copyright strike against Fanboys Anonymous. I'm going to be fighting that crap because, you know, Paramount doesn't like the idea of Mean Girls being reviewed. But Yeah, the channel did get taken down before. And we were targeted by the people that, WWE runs their legal division and stuff. They got people that do this kind of stuff. They got people that handle other kind of legal things. They're a big company. They got a lot of people. But same person kept attacking all these videos. And I was just like, what the hell has this woman got a problem with? And, I fought a little bit against it and whatever. But then it came back again. And I remember the little note that I had, because if you don't know, you get a copyright strike, it tells you who gave you the strike, what they're saying is being infringed on, and what part of the video it is and stuff like that. So, I've got one right now for the R-Truth outro. I've got that in the background. WWE doesn't like that I've got the R-Truth instrumental. Okay, makes sense, But the issue that took the channel down before was they were saying the tournament that we had, the Hottest Divas tournament, infringed on their TV show, WWE Hottest Divas and Sexiest Knockouts tournament. And it was like, holy fuck, if that's a TV show that you guys have, where's my goddamn money? Because you never paid me for this fucking TV show. But obviously I fought that, won that scenario. Haven't had any issues with the channel getting taken down ever since then. Maybe that's because we're partnered up with Fullscreen. I don't know. Maybe it's just like they don't have me on their radar. And I've got a little bit of a suspicion that it has to do with the fact that I, for a year, owned WWE-network.com.
So what ended up happening with that? You had to sell it to them, or?
I bought it before I had the copyright problems, and then I had the copyright problems. And when I got rid of the website after a year, because I was just like, you know what, I'm not really using it, I probably would not be able to just like sell it to them or whatever like that. They'd probably just like take me to court and win. I wouldn't put up a fight against it. They own it, that kind of thing. But I was going to originally make it a website that was like a network of WWE websites. Why not, right? And I let it go. That person who sends out the copyright strikes registered it like a week later. And I never had another issue from that person whatsoever. So I'm like, I wonder if they were just like, this fucker owns WWEnetwork.com? Let's go after his fucking channel. Or if it was just a coincidence. You never really know. There's always a chance that it's just a coincidence or whatever like that. But, yeah, that almost got taken down for that reason. We've had some issues with people flagging videos. We've got, obviously the trolls,
Oh yeah, can I give a quick shout out to all the dummies who comment and like, this isn't the pay-per-view. I'm too stupid to realize the difference between a review and the actual pay-per-view.
And Peyton, you get that all the time with the Raw Post Show. Do you have any like favorite things that stood out to you from those kind of bitches?
No, it's all pretty standard stuff. Ooh, you, whatever insult they want to put in there, that's like a third grade insult.
Do you read them in the same voice that I do? Which is like, you kind of did it there, like that, like, oh, this isn't the fucking thing.
It actually works
I'm
a lot
fucking
better.
mongoloid.
It works a lot better if you read it in Sean's voice. It makes everything more tolerable.
Sean's voice.
Fucking hell, this ain't the right video. You thought it was fucking Monday Night Raw. It's just some cunts talking about wrestling.
And you know what the sad thing is about all of that is that, it should be a dead giveaway that this isn't the actual show, but the fact that the episode's only like an hour long compared to the 2.5 hours that it would probably be with the commercials.
God, I thought this was going to be an episode of Smack Talk, not a retrospective.
What?
I was making fun of people. Continue.
Yeah, that joke sucked. Speaking of jokes.
I got it.
I got it. It just wasn't funny.
Yeah. Remember that thing we was talking about, how we're dicks?
Yeah.
I tried to save you.
Thank you.
Don't save him.
Okay, fuck you, Wago.
Shut up, Drew.
But most importantly, yeah, fuck Drew.
I love you guys.
But not true.
So yeah, a lot of things have changed over the years and stuff. As far as just like general favorite moments, favorite things that you've been participating in, stuff like that. What do you think? Or any things you want to bring up whatsoever while we kind of wrap this up a little bit? Peyton, I'll start with you since you're the senior member outside of me.
You're old.
I am fucking old. I mean, there's just so many. I mean, you just go to the wiki of the jokes list and you'll see what is there. I haven't gone back and listened to the episode that I first did. I'm sure it's a very different style from what I do now. Even my foray into podcasting was earlier then. I was probably only 20 or so episodes into keeping kayfabe myself. And that was a completely different show from anything I do now. Eventually I would branch out into the Raw Post show, which has a lot of the same characters here, and is hosted on the same website, Smark Out Moment, despite what Tony says. There's 2 shows on there. You look on the front page, there's 2 YouTube videos there.
Yeah, that's underneath the podcast section.
Yeah, but based on what somebody said, I think we know which one's the A show.
It's been a blast, and pretty much all of us here share talents in other places. I do the Mega Powers radio thing. I have the Keeping Kayfabe website. Wago has brought up Addicted to Anime. He's also written a number of articles. Drew.
Drew's got that eBay account that you can buy some stuff.
He's got that YouTube account where you can see what he likes on there and stuff.
You can actually buy his YouTube account on eBay.
But Drew was a participant in the Sports Talk Weekly.
Oh, he was. He tried to help that thing move along.
Was it the Max and Drew?
No, it's not. No, I'm saying you tried. You did your best, Slugger.
Yeah, no, it wasn't my fault that it didn't move along. It was just one week I was like, hey, are we doing it? And I never got a reply from Jester, and I was like, oh, I guess we're not doing this anymore. Shit.
I just realized, how perfect was it that Drew was on Sport Talk Weekly? Because he's sport.
I mean, I also wrote articles on Fanboys Anonymous, and and I did write one article on Smark Out a Moment because no one else was capitalizing on Brock Lesnar saying he was going to re-sign with WWE. So I did branch out a little bit.
That's great, champ.
I did do one episode of the Dasement Show with Mike Payton with that Silent Toe motherfucker who sucked.
Oh my god, that was...
You're right. Give him hell, Slugger.
All right, well then we had Kalen, who, at least Drew has a fantasy league team.
Exactly.
They might be fucking shit-headed losing, but...
Hey, he's got a very important attribute. He brought me a bacon maple donut. That is true. Fame.
So if you are the office of lunch, he is the office of dessert?
Yeah, I suppose.
I guess you could say that.
Based off that shitty episode of the old talk show we did, though, you hate fucking sweet and salty getting together now.
I do. No, I said that I hate it. I hate the oversaturation of it. See, I love fries and Frosties, but you haven't had fries and Frosties. You got to get your shit together and have fries and Frosties.
You never
Wait, who has
Wago. See, you feel like you don't even know him, right?
I'll tell you what, I will do that on my next day off.
No, do it fucking now.
Sure, dude, Wendy's should still be open. It's only midnight.
Yeah, exactly.
They're open until like 3.
No, I don't have Wendy's is the one thing that isn't around me.
Alright, so we're going to do live commentary of Wago finding a Wendy's around him.
Yeah.
And then he's gonna get the employees to sing the outro for this.
That might have actually been Drew's crowning moment on any podcast.
What, the McDonald's thing?
Yeah, fucking asking people to do an outro at fucking McDonald's. That was great.
That's a great indicator of how crazy the outros have gotten, though, where it used to be like, well, let's try to do, like, Jericho's outro. Oh, those lyrics are funny because we figured out a way to work outro and Jericho to rhyme. Ha ha ha. And then it's like, yo, Drew, get that person at McDonald's to sing.
And the best part is about when he couldn't do it, so he goes into a bathroom. He's like, guys, I'm in a bathroom. Room. Yeah, we know.
No, I love how that guy was like, yo, you gonna pay me?
Yeah, oh, I can't do this
That's
for
the
free.
best part about it.
Hey, that guy's got his hip screwed on.
Hey, what's it? He was probably going to give you his mixtape. It was probably fire, like Daquan, so...
Oh, I just realized what Peyton did, you fucking asshole.
What'd I do?
I made a picture of tacos. I really want tacos right now.
I'm surprised it took you that long. It's been there for a while.
Yeah, that's another little thing that people can't really see, but we do play games when it comes to... We record these on Skype. If you don't know Skype, you've got little, like, profile pictures and stuff like that, and you can change them during a podcast. You don't have to just, like, log out, log back in, that kind of a thing. So there's random episodes where you'll hear somebody just, like, snicker in the background, or you'll hear, like, this random edit that happened because we just busted out laughing because somebody put up something that's like really terrible or really just like spot on the funny thing at the moment. Like one of the best ones that I remember is when Peyton put up the Drew Tista.
We also had a very good edited version of Miguel, which the first time I made my Skype picture...
Oh, that was a whole series of them.
The first time I made it my Skype picture, it broke Peyton on air. It's great.
And like, right now, I've got the Simpsons one, Carl from The Simpsons, where he's got the pyramid hat on. Kaylin's got another thing from The Simpsons, the happiest guy in the world. Wago's got Oolong, the bunny with the pancake on its head.
Wait, that bunny's got a name?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, Oolong. Or Olong. It's Oolong. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Why is it named after a Dragon Ball Z character? It was a pig.
Did it have a pancake on its head?
No.
Well, then I don't know. Peyton's got tacos, but it looks like he's changing it, and it's freezing on my screen right now.
It still looks like a, let's call it a black rooster to me.
Drew, what the hell is yours?
It looks like a Vulpix crossed with a llama.
Hey, no, look, it's ravioli. Look.
Peyton changed it back to the baked beans that I thought were SpaghettiOs.
Yeah, mine is a Vulpix llama.
Why did someone just go, hey, you know, it'd be a great idea to draw a Vulpix llama?
I kind of want to draw a Vulpix, but I kind of want to draw a llama. I don't have enough time to do both separately.
So I'm probably going to take more time to come up with a hybrid.
It'll be worth it. Continuing on with this idea of the, newest people coming along and your memories and stuff like that. That would be Drew. So, Drew, what are, like, some other things we haven't touched on that, like, favorite moments or, whatever?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Because I told myself when Peyton was talking I was going to think about it, but I got sidetracked. But a lot of stuff has really happened. And, I share some of, I've always had a good time whenever we've gone on here and done podcasts. And then afterwards, we would, like, goof off until, like, 7 o'clock in the morning, which is terrible for the most part because it just gets to the point where we're just like sharing stupid memes with each other. But
there's like, way too many times where it's 3 a.m. and people are making noises to each other.
Exactly. And I think there's been a lot of good memories. I remember one of like the weirdest episodes we've ever done was the Superstar scores of Steve Blackman and Roman Reigns. And the only reason why we did that was because Tony asked people in the Mega Maniacs group to give him an idea. And we chose Steve Blackman. And then Wago said we should do Roman Reigns to give it some type of legitimacy. So that was actually one of my personal favorite episodes from the standpoint of I've never seen a Steve Blackman match. And I couldn't, if you gave me a picture of Steve Blackman before the episode, I wouldn't have been able to pick him out.
Would you have been surprised he was white?
Well, no, he is white.
Oh, this guy's Steve Whiteman.
No, I'm pretty sure at one point it's like, well, he's got to be athletic because his last name's Black, so that boosts his points. I'm just saying. So I will say there's a lot of good memories that I've shared with you guys, and I don't know. A lot of the memories go beyond just just what we do in here. So I can't think of anything right now off the top of my head that we haven't really touched upon. And I guarantee you, if I really divulge in it, and I'll be like, in 6 hours, I'll say something in our Facebook message group and going, "Hey guys, you remember that one thing where blank?" And then like, Drew, should have said on the episode or some shit like that. So unfortunately, I'm drawing a blank, but there's a lot of great stuff and a lot of good memories I've had. And I think one of my favorite memories overall was probably the first part I ever listened to. And it's cheesy, and probably looking back, if I went back to that episode now, it probably sucked ass because of who's on it. But like I said, I think that since then a lot has grown. We've all grown as humans, and we've gotten a lot worse because I'm pretty sure we were pretty tame at one point compared to what we used to be.
The next person would be Sean, and since he's not here because he's asleep, motherfucker, you're gonna have to leave comments below, Sean, and tell us this kind of shit. I'm expecting to see comments from 8 different YouTube names that are all yours. Then it would be Wago. What about you, Wigo? Any like favorite moments or
Oh man, there was
impressions and stuff?
there's this one time that this guy turned his sink under it. No, that was awful. Oh, there's this one guy, and for some reason he always had the same opinion as Jason Solomon, and no, that was terrible too. There was this one guy, and his kids always used to talk during the no.
Daddy, are you doing a radio show?
Oh man, we used to have so many anal jokes back in the day, and they were pretty fucking awful too. Yeah, it seems like everything just got better after I got here, so I'll take away me as my favorite moment.
Remember those good old days when we would talk about how Dixie Carter's not pushing the right guys?
Oh, Jesus Christ, we had some stinkers of shows back then. As far as a favorite moment goes, I can't pinpoint it, because my favorite thing about this show is I go in not knowing what to expect, and 9 times out of 10, unless we record on a Tuesday, it's normally great. We normally come up with a new joke, we have a chuckle at each other's expense, and it's generally just a lot of fun. If these shows weren't fun, I probably wouldn't do them, because I cannot be serious about pro wrestling anymore. It's just become too ludicrous to do that. So having this platform, just to let your hair down and bullshit, it's fucking fantastic.
Oh man, well you're gonna hate episode 201 because that's when we go serious.
I will also say one more thing about the show. I recall, like, back in the earlier episodes, this was strictly just, talk about wrestling, and then you'll have someone talk about anal or something retarded, or their dumbass kids in the background will be making noise. But
ugly kids.
This is definitely not what it originally started as. It has definitely turned into a mess, but a hot mess, if you could call it that.
Hot mess.
Hot mess.
I'm glad you picked up.
That is an example of being around each other for far too long.
Everybody jumped on that one.
Damn right. Kaylin, what about you? Obviously, episode 178 to episode 200, being a part of the show is not a huge history and stuff, but we mentioned before about you've been a follower for a long time and stuff
Sure.
like that.
Well, one of the things, and you guys had mentioned it before, listening to it on YouTube or iTunes or something, you hear the different segments, but you don't realize what goes on in between those segments. Sometimes you might think it just goes one to the other, and sometimes it actually does. Sometimes like, okay, that was number 2. We're moving on to number 3. Here we go. But a lot of times there's like good 10, 15 minutes of talking about random stuff. And like you said, that's part of how the All Talk show developed. And like you said, also after the show was recorded, it's not uncommon to have 4 extra hours of just talking about random things that is never recorded, never uploaded. You guys never hear this. And
you never will.
You never will. And that's, just as fun, if not more fun sometimes, I'd have to say that if it wasn't fun, I know you guys wouldn't be doing it. I know I wouldn't be doing it if I wasn't having fun, because, what we're getting paid to do this show isn't quite what I get paid at my normal day job. So I wouldn't do it if I didn't enjoy the hell out of it. But one thing that I do have to mention that I really do enjoy, a part of the show, it's not a segment, it's not a panelist, it's not a joke. It is the fans. It is after the show is done. You guys are commenting on this stuff. We actually do read every single comment that you guys put. And even though I don't myself comment on a lot of it, I know Drew does, I know Tony does. And it's interesting to see what you guys think, because if nobody was listening, I mean, who knows how long the show would continue. So I know I really appreciate all the fans commenting on all that stuff.
Damn right, I
If
love
you
it when
want
you
to
guys
comment anymore, you can go over to facebook.com and join the Megamaniacs group and tell us what you think all the time.
That's another thing that I'm so glad Megamaniacs has really kicked off more, because I've gotten to know a lot of the fans so much better through that.
And it's got more interaction with the polls. Yeah. It's an easy platform to tell people about when there's doing live shows, like when we're doing an all talk show, or when you do an impromptu Smack Talk live. We did that one time.
A couple times. Not anymore.
Oh, that's a damn shame, but I guarantee you, if there wasn't a fan base out there at all, it would be a lot harder to do these shows, mainly because you're putting something out there, but no one is hearing it. And the fact that there's people hearing it and people who enjoy it, it really does mean a lot for some people. Not so much because I'm...
Sorry. I've got... Alright,
200 episodes, we still haven't figured out how to
This
not
still
talk
happens,
over each
yeah.
other.
I've got an episode which everybody needs to go check back, and it was our special end of the year award shows where we're
That was
all
great.
video. If you want to see us down to our silliest and just most bullshitting, that is the episode to check out.
Robot John's the best.
What?
There's a part in that episode where Sean gets all robotic, and it's the greatest thing ever.
But yeah, check that episode out.
Yeah, and I mean, that kind of sums everything up, I guess. Obviously, we can't go back and we can't talk about each and every episode, nor would we want to, because some of those are fucking bad. I'll admit it. But 200 episodes in the bag. Actually, more than 200 if you count all the specials and stuff like that, too, because there's some things that aren't actually labeled, you know, an episode of Smack Talk. You know, some old predictions contest things, and the things like whenever we go to an event, always filming something there. Different interviews from back in the day, stuff like that. The Divas tournament stuff we did this year, that was separate from Smack Talk, and who knows, might add some more things that aren't in the Smack Talk canon, I guess you could kind of refer to it. I don't know.
I have a question.
Shoot.
And what do you think is the best episode of Smack Talk? Because I
Find out next
doubt
time.
you keep a track of this, but I guarantee there's something that sticks out as something that was at least, damn, that was actually good.
I gotta tell you, my favorite episode to do was last year's awards. I don't know if that's the best one, but that was a lot of fun to look back on stuff, especially the segment where we're talking about the jokes and everything. But my favorite episode as far as like the quality of it, I wouldn't know. I do like our pay-per-view stuff when we're really tight and we really have a lot of opinions, but we still joke around a lot. My least favorite episodes are the ones where it's a short one and there's no jokes. Like, I don't like it when we go through like a hot tags and the news is all depressing and we don't want to make jokes about it. And, you know, I like when we debate, but I don't like when we go into debates where it's like we sound like a bunch of overbearing wrestling fans. Or if you listen to old episodes where like the Ask Hims are very like serious kind of. That's the kind of stuff I'm glad we got away from. You know, I like the levity that we add to it now. So probably it would be something from this past year, something in 2014 maybe. I can't listen back to the older episodes and have as much of an affinity for them as I used to, because now that I know better, it's kind of the same as like when you look at old logos that you've made and you're like, oh, then I figured out how to use a fucking drop shadow.
Oh, and then I figured out if I got rid of him, and him, it would be shit.
But especially that second him. That kind of stuff is there. Those things really add a lot. So it would have to be something with this group of people, and it would have to be something from the past year. Not even like episode 110. It'd have to be like 150 onward, probably. Off the top of my head, I don't really know though. But I'm curious what you guys think too. You know, leave those comments below. What do you think was the best episode out of episodes 0 to 200 or whatever, if you want to constitute it that way? You know, what are some of your memories from Smack Talk from over the years? Where would you like to see Smack Talk go in the future? Because we're always going to try to evolve this, and we're going to try to make things better and better, and to the point where episode 400, we're looking back and going, oh, god damn, episode 200 sucks compared to now. Because you could always strive for more perfect. And even if we don't change all that much, I like what we've got going now. I think I can look back on episode 200 and go, we had some good shit around this time. So thank you all for supporting us through these 200 episodes. Looking forward to have you guys leave your comments and support us for the next 200, the next 500, the next 10,000, however long we end up going. The next 3 until WWE decides to take my shit down. Who knows? But I think that'll round us out for our little retrospective here. And we have one more thing that we need to do for this episode of Smack Talk, and that is the Fantasy League. So, part 5 coming up your way. Click on that video if you're on YouTube, iTunes, and Stitcher. You don't got to do a thing, but sit back, relax, and listen to the Fantasy League.